PlayStation Plus's Extra and Premium tiers offer myriad game choices depending on your mood and gameplay preference, all across a wide variety of genres. Unsurprisingly, role-playing games are not an exception, and that includes Western and Japanese projects. PS Plus has action, turn-based, shooter, open world, and tactical RPGs, so there should be something for just about everyone to dive into. Hey there everyone, and welcome to Game Rant. My name is Geoffrey. In today's video, let's take a look at 10 of the best RPGs that you can play and enjoy right now on PS Plus Extra and Premium. It's worth noting that games do come in and out of the service each month, so an RPG mentioned here might not always be available. Number 10, Sea of Stars. Garnering near universal praise, Sea of Stars is a throwback to yesteryear's JRPGs that can stand alongside the genre's greatest all-time offerings. Launching directly on PS Plus Extra, Sabotage Studios' title follows a duo of heroes as they go on an adventure within their island, which proves to be far bigger and more diverse than initially might seem apparent to them. Naturally, they make a few friends along the way who are more than happy to fight alongside them, and they will need all the help they can get. Even though 16-bit pixel graphics games have been done to death, particularly when it comes to RPGs and in the indie scene, Sea of Stars nevertheless manages to impress with its art style and visuals. Sabotage's indie project might not have realistic AAA graphics, but it is still one of 2023's most gorgeous releases. The turn-based combat system is finely tuned to encourage fast and strategic play, and it goes out of its way to ensure that every character feels important. Number 9, Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age. While Final Fantasy is better known in North America, Dragon Quest is undoubtedly the king of RPGs in Japan. After a long stretch away from Western home consoles, the franchise made its international comeback with Dragon Quest XI, a glorious throwback to early JRPGs that proves the formula isn't broken. Dragon Quest XI-S adds a handful of quality life improvements to the base game, along with a few neat additions such as a 16-bit mode toggle. Offering a lengthy campaign, beautiful visuals, endearing characters, and straightforward but enjoyable turn-based combat, this Square Enix project might be the best JRPG on PS Plus Extra. Number 8, Trials of Mana. A remake of 1995's Trials of Mana, this 2020 game is quite faithful to the original, both in terms of gameplay and story progression. An argument could be made that this iteration is just a 3D rendition of Trials of Mana. Consequently, as the 1995 title is hailed as a classic, the modern version is also pretty great. Players get to pick 3 characters from 6 protagonists, all of which come with unique backstories and development. Trials of Mana utilizes a real-time combat system that starts shallow but blossoms nicely as the campaign progresses. Actually, that is something that extends to the entire game, as the campaign picks up considerable steam during its second half. Number 7, Bloodborne. Bloodborne is a dark fantasy RPG inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft, Bram Stoker, and other classical horror authors of the early 20th century. It is developed by From Software, the same studio behind Dark Souls franchise and Elden Ring, as well as the Demon's Souls remake, which is also on PS Plus. Bloodborne was released as a PlayStation exclusive, though, and it is included with PS Plus Premium and Extra, which is great. It's one of the most challenging RPGs ever made, and its uniquely disturbing visuals, paired with incredibly fine-tuned gameplay, make it a classic every PlayStation owner should try at some point. Number 6, The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. The Elder Scrolls series has remained somewhat stagnant since the release of The Elder Scrolls Online almost 8 years ago. Fans hold out for the eventual sequel to Skyrim, though, thanks to the everlasting playability of the Elder Scrolls franchise. The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion is the game that popularized the Elder Scrolls series before Skyrim made it a household name and got ported to everything under the sun. While the graphics may feel somewhat dated, Oblivion's story, gameplay, and overall atmosphere are still as impressive as they were on release. The music of the game is regularly praised as the best in the series, and the environments of Cyrodiil are as lush as they are teeming with secrets. If someone has only ever played Skyrim, they will like its predecessor as well. Number 5, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Final Fantasy VII was no doubt a landmark release for the RPG genre, and the 1997 game holds up after all these years. That classic is without question one of the best JRPGs on PS Plus. However, the same claim can also be made regarding its remake. Square Enix has opted to retell this iconic story through a modern lens, one that provides a lot more than just a graphical upgrade. Utilizing an action-based battle system with a couple of turn-based options, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade delivers fast-paced and enticing combat across a plethora of playable characters. Intergrade is the PS5 version that includes Yuffie's intermission DLC, and it is a substantial addition that features unique bosses and mechanics. The PS4 vanilla version of the game is also on PS Plus Premium and Extra, so a subscriber doesn't need Sony's latest console to play this title. As Square Enix has announced that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second part of the remake initiative, is on the way, this is the perfect time for newcomers to jump into the first game. Number 4. Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. Nihon Falcom's Ys has been a staple of the action JRPG scene for decades, particularly on PCs. Although not the first entry to garner attention in Western countries, Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana helped expand the franchise's visibility since it features graphics that didn't look as dated as its predecessor's visuals. More importantly, the action JRPG has a fast-paced and awesome combat system that is accessible but also hides a fair amount of depth. Set on a reasonably sized tropical island area filled with monsters to slay and discoveries to be made, Lacrimosa of Dana strikes a healthy balance of battles, character building, and tons of exploration. One of the most fun JRPGs on PS Plus Premium and Extra, Ys 8 should not be missed. Number 3. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. Originally released during the PS3/Xbox 360 era, Kingdoms of Amalur fell into obscurity due to a complicated behind-the-scenes situation, we'll say, before making a resurgence through the Re-Reckoning remaster. The game is fondly remembered for its action combat system, which takes a few pages from the hack-and-slash genre. Players are encouraged to experiment with weapon types, and they are showered in tons of loot throughout the game. Although its story is nothing special, Amalur's Phalanx is a vibrant world that is still fun to explore. The game's age does certainly show its age in places, but the gameplay is still enjoyable enough to justify a recommendation. Number 2. Moonlighter. Role-playing titles can be stressful, both in terms of their narratives and gameplay. For people who want something a touch more relaxing and laid back, Moonlighter is a valid option and might be just the ticket. The game is split into two sections, shop management and dungeon crawling. The latter serves as a way to acquire resources and loot that can be invested in the former. This loop is enticing and highly rewarding, while still offering enough of a challenge to test players. Moonlighter's pixel art style is gorgeous, and the visuals really bring to life the game's setting and the monsters that populate its dungeons. Number 1. Child of Light. Every once in a while, Ubisoft develops a game that makes people question, wait, is that really from Ubisoft? Well, Child of Light might be the best example of this phenomenon. A turn-based RPG that incorporates platforming sections, this title is imaginative, endearing, and does not overstay its welcome. As Aurora, players traverse the kingdom of Lemuria in order to defeat the Queen of the Night. Along the way, she meets a few quirky heroes who join her team, helping her fight off a colorful range of enemies. Child of Light is one of those PS Plus RPGs that can paint a permanent smile on a player's face. And there we have it, 10 truly fantastic RPGs that you can experience right now on PlayStation Plus. Thank you so much for checking out this video from Game Rant. Have a truly wonderful and happy day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.